Welcome everyone, GCSE live lesson. Okay, this afternoon we're doing factorising. Okay, it's just a basic version. Okay, this is really important that you get this in order to access some of the more difficult topics. Again, comments will be going off. Hi Noah, comments will be going off and we're in. Okay, can you make a start please when you're ready? Some difficult ones on this one. Can you make a start when you're ready on the page in front of you? The only one I think you need a calculator for is the top right. Give you 5 minutes to get all of that done. Last few minutes, guys. Last minute on this. Right guys, so we're going to very quickly go through all these, okay? Lots of key information on this page, okay? These are key topics that if you get them right, these are kind of the bulky topics. If you get them right, you will do really well at intermediate here, okay? Very straightforward first question. I'm going to add 6 to both sides first, because I want to get rid of that minus 6. 6x moves straight down. Add 6 minus 6 makes nothing. 42 plus 6 is 48. Divide by 6. End up with x equals 48 divided by 6 is 8. Okay, x equals 8. First one, 2 marks, done in the bank. Okay, you should be at the point now where you get those basic solving equations ones correct. Okay, right, so 0.5 times 0.9. Again, similar topic to one this morning. Okay, you do 5 times 9. Okay, ignore the decimal points first. 5 times 9 is 45. Then, if you look back to the question and you underline these two, you got 2 numbers after the decimal point, so you have to count back 2 spaces, put a decimal point in, and remember there's got to be a 0 before the decimal point. 0.45. 1 mark. Right, trigonometry, okay? This one will need a calculator, and it does take a little bit of working out. However, it's essentially the same thing every single time, okay? I'm just going to zoom right in. Same thing every single time. So, 3 points for this one. Okay, there's my angle. So this side, I'm going to label my sides first. This is the opposite. This is my hypotenuse. And this is my adjacent. Adjacent just means next to. Opposite is opposite the angle. Hypotenuse is the long side in a right angle triangle. Once you're there now, okay, I need to find one of these sides. So what I'm going to do is, I need to find hypotenuse. So I'm going to write down the word SOHCAHTOA. It'll make sense why in a second. I'm going to cross off the one I don't need. Now looking at my diagram, I need the adjacent because it's got 7 attached. I need x because it's got a hypotenuse attached. I don't need the opposite, so I'm going to cross that one off. I'm also going to cross that off over here. I'm going to be using ca. So I'm going to be using cos. It's important you draw your triangle out, okay, and it'll make sense why in a sec. Okay, I'm trying to find hypotenuse, so I'm going to be putting h equals. Okay, I want to find hypotenuse. If I cover h, okay, I'm going to do it. You could do it with your finger if you want to. If I cover h, look at what's left. I've got a divided by cos of whatever the angle is. So my working out is a divided by cos. A is 7. Divided by cos 37. Then you can just put that in your calculator. 7 divided by cos 37 is 8.76. So my answer for x is 8.76 centimeters. Okay, very, very straightforward topic. You just got to make sure you practice and practice and practice, okay? It doesn't just stick in your head off an explanation. You've got to go away and practice it yourself. That's 3 points. Next, the green one, okay, you've got to factorize this first into double brackets and then solve it, okay? So you put in something into double brackets, okay? We're doing difficult factorizing, easy factorizing today. This is the more complicated version. There will be a lesson on this at some point, okay? I've got x and x on either side. I've got to find 2 numbers to fill this bracket, okay, this double bracket. They've got to multiply to make positive 10, and they've got to add to make positive 7. So multiply and add. Okay, so they've got to multiply to make 10, add to make 7. The only 2 I can think of are 2 and 5. Now this last bit you need to think a little bit logically, okay? These 2 brackets times together to make 0. In order for these 2 brackets to times together to make 0, the stuff inside them has to equal 0. Either this bracket equals 0, in which case for this to make 0, it would have to be minus 2 for x. Minus 2 plus 2 would make nothing. Or this bracket equals 0. If this bracket equals 0, that would have to be minus 5. So x could either be -2 or -5, and it would still make 0 as an answer. 3 points for that one. Next, a bit of indices rules. Okay, the 5 and the 7, you're just going to multiply those together normally. 5 times 7 is 35. I'm going to cheat. 5 times 7 is 35. Then the numbers above the x, the powers, we're going to add them together. So it's 5 times 7, 35. x5 and x7, add them together to make it 35x to the power of 12. Add your powers when you're multiplying in indices. Okay, 68, just a bit of taking away now. 68.3. Take away 5.47. Fill in any gaps or zeros. 0 take away 7, I can't do it. 10 take away 7 is 3. 3 take away 4, 2 take away 4, sorry, can't do it. So I'm going to put that as a 7. That's a 12. 12 take away 4 is 8. 7 take away 5 is 2. And 6 take away nothing is nothing. So my answer is 62.83. 1 point. Right, last three. 35% of 80. Okay, 10% first. 10% is 8. That would mean 30% if I times it by 3 would be 24. And then I'm going to half 10% to find 5%, which gives me 4 overall. Add the two bottom ones. So I'm going to add the two bottoms. 30 and 5 makes 35. 35% on the left hand side, 24 plus 4 makes 28. So 35% of 80, is 28. 1 mark. Right, next one, this is a little more difficult. Okay, simultaneous equations, right? So they're not super difficult, but again, this is when you have to learn if you're going to be successful in higher tier. If you're in intermediate, if you're in higher tier, you have to get really good at this as well. So what I'm going to do, I need to make the y's the same. In order to do that, I'm going to times the top one, I'm going to times it all by 3. The bottom one, I'm going to times it all by 5, because I'm going to make them both into 15. Now if you look at this, times the top by 3, end up with 12x plus 15y equals 9. Bottom one, 15x, take away 15y equals 45. Okay, call the top one equation 1, bottom one equation 2. Then I'm going to add them together because they're different. If it's different, add, same, subtract. So different, I'm going to add them together. 12 plus 15 is 27. 9 plus 45 is 54. 27x equals 54. That would mean divide by 27, so x would have to be 2. Once you know x is 2, okay, the rest is fairly straightforward as well. I'm going to sub x is 2 into the top one. So 4 times 2, 4 times x is 8, plus 5y gives me 3. Take away 8 from both sides, 5y equals minus 5. That would mean y would have to be negative 1. Last question. Okay, that was worth 3 points. That's a big one. Last question, bit of end term. Okay, look at your jumps. Look what it's going up in. Okay, whatever it's going up in has got to go in front of the n. So it's going up in 5, so it's going to be 5n. And then whatever comes before the first number goes on the end. So it's 5n, comes before 3. It's going to be take away 2 because it's going up in 5. So that's worth 2 points. Right, guys, add up what you've done so far. Okay, you should have a total of 18 points altogether. It's all about improving on this every single time. Be honest with your scores, okay? Don't just give yourself 18 every single time. Make sure you do mark as a critical person so you get around 15, 16 every time if you're not quite sure. Right then, so factorising, okay? Factorising is really straightforward, okay? All you're doing the opposite of expanding brackets. So I'm going to put this back into a bracket, okay? In order to do that, I'm going to put it underneath a bus stop. So I've got 16x. I'm going to change the colour each time so it looks better. 16x minus 24. Now, I need to work out what goes on the outside of my bus stop. Look at these two things. Ask yourself a couple of questions. Is there a letter in both sides? No, there's not a letter. Is there a number in both sides? Yes. What is the biggest number that goes into these two? The biggest number that goes into 16 and 24 is 8. Okay, so 8 is the thing we take out the front. That's the biggest thing that goes into both. Okay, 16 divided by 8 is just 2. There's no letter on the outside, so x just moves up. Minus goes up. 24 divided by 8 is 3. So my answer is this number by here goes on the outside of my bracket. 2x minus 3 goes on the inside of my bracket. Now, if you can do that without using the middle step, because you've seen this before and you understand it, just go straight from question to answer. But if you don't get it, follow this middle step that I've shown you. Have a go at this one over here for me, please. If you can't do it, don't worry. Okay, I'm going to go through it in a sec. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to get that down and another 30 seconds to get that done. If you haven't seen this before and you're not sure at all, just get this down and wait for me. Ten seconds. Right guys, so I'm going to go through this one on the right hand side. If you're still going, keep going, just ignore me. If you're waiting for me, have a look. Okay, so what we've got this bit underneath the bus stop. So I've got y squared. I'm going to change my colour because it does look good, I think. Y squared plus 2y. Okay, and on the outside, you've got to look at these now. I can't take a number out because this one hasn't got a number. It's just got a number 1, and this has got a number 2. So there's nothing I can take out the front. But I can take a letter out. I can take the letter y out. Now, this is the point. This is why I said just wait for me if you're not sure. Okay, I'm going to change that to black now. Y squared divided by y. What happens is, instead of having y squared, one of them cancels out. You're just left with a single y at top. Plus, whatever the sign is, always goes in the middle. 2, there's no 2 at the front, so 2 is going on top. Y divided by y, that cancels out. So your answer is y on the outside of your bracket, y plus 2 on the inside. Okay, exactly the same as is on the top. And it is literally that simple every single time. It never changes. It's very straightforward. You just got to take a little bit of time to practice. And if you don't understand, use the middle way. Right, guys, that should be all marked now. Have a go, please, at one column. You don't have to do both. You can either do the left-hand one or the right-hand one. This is more difficult. So this is easy, this is hard. This is more challenging. Right guys, one more minute or so. Right guys, so mark what have you done so far for me please. So anything you've done, make sure it's ticked or crossed. Again, they're not perfectly in line, so maybe just mark them in order, whichever box you decided to do. If you miss any, remember, this is going up straight after the session, so I'm happy for you to just do it then. Right then, so next one, moving on to more difficult factorising now. So similar thing to before, I'm going to put it back in underneath my bus stop. Okay. I'm going to put it back underneath my bus stop, exactly the same as I did last time. However, this time I got extra bits going on. I got a 3x squared, take away a 9xy. Okay, so there's a bit more going on this time. Now, you've got to look at, exactly as I said before, you've got to look at what you can take out the front. Now, I've got a 3x squared and a 9xy. Look at the numbers first. Is there a number in both sides? Yes. The biggest thing that goes into 3 and 9 is 3. Okay, now look at the letters. I've got an x and a y and two x's. Okay, the biggest number of letters I can take out is 1x, because there's two x's by here and 1x there. I can only take out an x at the front. Once you're there now, 3 divided by 3 is just the number 1. Oh, I didn't want to write 11. I wanted to write 1. X squared divided by x, what happens is, I'm going to change the colour again for this bit because I think it looks better. That should just be 1. X squared divided by x, what happens is one of the x's cancels out to leave me with 1x. Minus goes in the middle. 9 divided by 3 is 3. X divided by x, x cancels out. There's no y, so y just moves up to the top. So my answer is 3x on the outside of my bracket. On the inside of my bracket, I've got 1x, which is just x, take away 3y. Right guys, get that example down, take your time, have a go at this one potentially, have a go. Okay, if you can't do it, just wait for me. Make sure that example's down on your book though. Right, guys, so I'm going to go through it now. Again, if you've not finished it, just carry on, ignore my voice. Okay, if you have finished it, oh, I don't want a line, I want a pen. If you have finished it, that's cool too. So, 4xy. 4xy plus 12y. Okay, all of that. I've got to look now. What's the biggest thing I can take out the front? Biggest thing that goes into 12 and 4 is 4. Biggest thing that goes into x, y, and y is just the letter y. Okay, I can't take an x out because there's not an x over there. Once I'm there now, 4 divided by 4 is just 1. X divided by x is not, there's no x on the outside, so I can't do anything with that. Y divided by y cancels. Plus goes in the middle. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And y divided by y cancels out. So my answer is 4y on the outside. X, 1x plus 3 on the inside, okay? Very straightforward question. Okay, get good at these. These are as difficult as they get. So it's worth learning these. Get that down for me quickly. Right, guys, I'd like you to have a go, please, at one question at a time, okay? We're going to go up through the difficulties. This is multiple choice. You get to pick which one you're going to do, okay? Have a go at one of the ones on the bottom. Have a go at this, sorry. The answer is one of the ones at the bottom. If you really understand it now, you don't have to do the bus stop. Ten seconds. Right, so the biggest thing that goes into these two. Biggest thing that goes into 3x and 12 is just 3. Okay, we can't take a letter out because there's not a letter on both sides. 3 divided by 3 is 1. X, no x on the outside, so there's no x on the inside. X just goes straight up. Plus goes in the middle. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So with 3 on the outside of the bracket and x plus 4 on the inside of the bracket, my answer looks like that. Next one. 30 seconds from now. Right then, so again, set your bus stop up. 2 I can take on the outside because it's the biggest thing that goes into 2 and 8. 2 divided by 2 is 1. X goes up top. Minus goes in the middle. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So with 2 on the outside and X take away 4 on the inside, my answer isn't even there. My answer's not even there. So it should be 2 on the outside, X take away 4 on the inside. That's not even an option. Okay, so the answer you should get is that. It's not one of the options, so sorry if you got the wrong one then. Okay, hopefully this one will be correct. Yeah, this one is fine. Have a go, guys. 30 seconds. Right then, so biggest thing we can take out the front. We can take out the front 3, because it's the biggest thing that goes into 3 and 12, and we can take out an x. 3 divided by 3 is 1, x divided by x cancels, leaving me with y, plus 12 divided by 3 is 4, x divided by x just cancels out. So my answer is 3x on the outside, y plus 4 on the inside. That is the bottom left-hand one. Right guys, again, this is the last one we'll do on the multiple choice, okay? Have a go, okay? See which one is correct. Right guys, so for this one, set my bus stop up again. Set it up. Okay, I can take a 2 out the front, and I can take an n out the front, because there's n squared by there and 1n by there. 2 divided by 2 is 1. N squared divided by n cancels one of the n's out, leaving you with 1n. Plus goes in the middle. 6 divided by 2 is 3. N divided by n cancels. So my answer is 2n on the outside, n plus 3 on the inside. That is bottom left again. Right guys, so what I'd like you to do for me, just finishing off, okay, last thing we do, okay, can you match up the questions with the answers, okay? So all of these are questions. I'd like you to factorise these. They'll all have a missing pair by there. If I was to help you, 3k plus 18 would go down to 3k plus 6. Okay, so that's the first pair done for you. You've got 4 more to do. Two minutes to get us done. Right guys, finish off the one you're on. You should have, if you got those ones guys, if you got those pairs, okay, you have absolutely mastered this topic and you understand factorising, okay? If you didn't get them all right, that's okay too. Remember, just practice the ones obviously you found difficult. Maybe skip back to some of the work when this goes up, skip back to some of the questions and maybe try some more. Maybe you haven't just got enough practice yet. Guys, well done for all your hard work. Really proud of everyone for all their hard work and tuning in every single lesson.